session, if you don't mind. Hopefully everyone doesn't mind that. So I just want to kind of get this on recorded so we can share this later. So winter 22 release, again, this was introduced last fall, really, to be honest with you, October or November. So it's been in there a while, but again, we wanted to make sure we went through a few of the highlights from that release to make sure people understand some of the key functionality that's available in a couple of different areas. And mostly, to be honest with you, I'm going to focus on like user adoption or user experience, user interface experience enhancements. That's really what I'm going to focus on because that seems to be the most impactful. If I'm being honest with you, they give us a deck with 130 slides and they say, okay, narrow this down to enough to talk to in about 45 minutes or less. And of course, I usually narrow it down to about 20 or 30, and then I got to narrow it down a little bit more. Additionally, in the past, a lot of these slides consisted of functionality and enhancements that are for specifically just for core licenses. But now a lot of them require additional add-on licenses, and I try to stay clear of those. Just so I want to speak about topics that are most relevant to as many people as possible. So I'm actually only going to probably demo one productivity functionality today. And then I'll talk to a couple other ones from the slides that I have available to me to see, I make sure I cover those. And then the other ones, again, are going to be more user experience enhancements, support that you can get from Salesforce support, all that kind of good stuff. So I'll get started here. And this is a condensed version of this, what they call, and this is a website anybody can go to and get these from, but I'll still add a slide on here that has a link to this Winter 22 release in a box, full slide deck, 130. If somebody wants to take the time to go look at that, you can have all those resources. But I, slimmed it down to what I'm going to be covering during today's session. A few of the highlights that I thought would be most important for everybody. So. We don't need to go through another forward-looking statement, but this was the table of contents that I started with, and I had to narrow down. These are the different topics. Again, you have your basic ones up at the top, your sales, service, and marketing, and then it gets into some more specific ones, like your loyalty experience, like loyalty programs. They have a specific, setup that's already pre-built for folks to have a loyalty program for a company that you work for. Experiences, which is like Experience Cloud, the old community cloud, Quip, if anybody uses that. Commerce, there's some specific platform updates from an application, services, and app development perspective. I think I might have one of those in there, and Lightning Experience. Learning, the My Trailhead, and the other type of learnings, which are really cool, guidance center that I'll be talking about a little bit. Analytics, and then some of the industry-specific clouds like the financial services cloud, healthcare, health cloud, manufacturing cloud, consumer goods cloud, public sector solutions, communications, media. All of those are specific, like pre-built solutions for each one of those areas, those industries that still take some customization, but a lot less than just starting out with your basic sales or service cloud. So they kind of have those tailored all the way through nonprofit, education, and philanthropy. And then there's some stuff about customer success. Again, just getting support from Salesforce. As a consultant, I work with a lot of customers, and we love working with them and having a relationship. But I also want them to take advantage of what they have, what they're already paying for, as much as possible. So I like to make sure steer people to whatever level they are from a Salesforce support perspective, that they're taking full advantage of that, so they get their money's worth out of that Salesforce support. Because it has improved. For anybody that's been in the Salesforce ecosystem for a while, 4 or 5 years ago, Salesforce support was lackluster, to be nice, but they have improved that tremendously, even to the point where they've brought on now acquired two different consulting firms that were very successful and have been, Acumen, and then just recently Traction on Demand. So those are consultants that they're bringing in to provide consultative type work to customers. So we definitely want to continue to take advantage of that, to continue to enhance that. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. And then last but not least, integration of MuleSoft. So those are all the different topics. Again, I had 131 slides worth of these topics to run through to try to narrow it down. Hopefully I did a good job in you guys will find the topics that I chose to be helpful to you guys. So the first thing is regarding sales. There really were 5 enhancements that they had available to me for me to talk about. First one was pipeline inspection enhancements, which is what I will be talking about today. There also was some Einstein conversation insights enhancements, territory planning enhancements, multiple variant testing, and then some sales cadence enhancements. And again, those last 4 really require additional licensing, so I try to stay clear of those. But if you want to take advantage of them, I'll share the deck and you can look at those, because some of them really do provide some serious enhancements and efficiencies to the way you do like territory planning or testing and that type of thing. But so talking about pipeline inspection, unfortunately, this was one that it does not give you access to in a Trailhead sandbox. So unfortunately, I can't log in and show you the cool functionality that's available in here, but I got a pretty good screenshot here, I think, to kind of go over real quick. And I just want to kind of talk about a few of the highlights from here. So this basically is a glorified list view on your opportunities. You enable it. It shows you just like a list view. You add whatever columns you want to onto here from an opportunity perspective, but it automatically gives you this, the darker part up here on the top here that gives you some very quick flexibility. It's almost like a quick snapshot of what you can get out of Tableau CRM. It's that kind of advanced level reporting and capability and functionality that you don't get just from a standard list view or even from a Kanban list view. Kanbans are awesome, but this almost takes Kanban to the next level as well. So you would basically, there's a new item called Einstein Deal Insights. And what that does is it gives you, and you can see it's kind of hovering here, it gives you a little Einstein head to let you know there's some insight here to let you know based on previous experience, even though this says it's going to close in September, it's letting you know it's probably not going to close in September, because traditionally for this company, you've had to push the close date out multiple times or something of that nature. It continues to learn and give you that advanced functionality so you can plan your forecasting even that much more than you might be doing now if you do forecasting for your company. Some of the other things, if you haven't turned on pipeline inspections, definitely recommend doing that if you haven't already. Basically what it shows is, again, up here, you can very, very, very quickly change what the time frame is, whether you're looking for this month, this quarter, whatever that might be. If you're looking for just yourself individually, or for your team, if you're leading a team, you can look at that very quickly and easy and change that filter as needed. And then these items up here are clickable as well, and it filters down the list here based on whatever you click on. So if you just want to look at the most likely opportunities, you can just click here and it'll just filter it right away immediately. Not permanently, but just so you can visually see what's happening there. What you've closed launch, you click on that, shows you closed launch. You can kind of look at the details to find out why that happened. But the big feature from pipeline inspection, if you're not taking advantage of it already, is you can kind of see a little bit here. It's got the amount with a red, it's in red with the arrow pointing down. Anytime an amount is decreased or a close date is pushed out to a later date, they turn green with a down arrow. If the amount increases or the close date is moved up to a closer date, it turns green with an up arrow. And that is a way you can easily see where some changes are being made to your forecasting, whether it be from a time frame perspective or an amount perspective. And then it doesn't show here, and I wish I could show it to you, but if I hovered over where it says 68,500, you could see all the details about that change. It shows you what it was, what it is now, who made the change, and when it was, just from hovering over. You don't have to click into it to see all those details. It's really a cool feature. And it's for anybody that has Sales Cloud. So you can go in, you should be able to implement this and just turn that feature on, the pipeline inspection feature, and take advantage of it. The one caveat I would say, I was trying to set this up for one of our clients, but they used a custom amount field, and it's not friendly with custom amount field. So if you use the standard amount field on the opportunity, this will work awesome for you. And definitely if you do that, recommend using it, because again, it's just a glorified list view. You're not doing a whole lot of setup ahead of time. You're just exposing this to whatever users should have access to this type of functionality and features. So, okay. Any questions on pipeline inspection? The pipeline inspection has been available for a couple of releases now. Really, this Einstein deal enhancements is really what's the newest release, but I wanted to review the pipeline inspection in general because it really is a cool feature to take advantage of if you're not already. Any questions? Okay. All right, so let me get into one where I can actually demo, which is from a service perspective. So that was the only thing from a sales perspective I was going to review. I have one item for service, which is the customer service incident management enhancement that they've created. So I'll review that in just a second, get into more details. But a few of the other ones are the appointment assistant, which has some self-service scheduling options now for scheduling and canceling and modifying self-service wise. So definitely if you are in a company that makes appointments with customers, this is a great feature to take advantage of. Again, there's an add-on for that, but definitely I'll share this so you can have that information later. Einstein bots enhancements, Service Cloud voice, prescriptive setup for partner telephony. So when they originally introduced Service Cloud voice, if you're not familiar with it, it's basically a CTI, telephone integration with Salesforce, and Salesforce created their own. And it was 100% hooked up to Amazon Connect was the telephony solution. Well, they have since opened that up, so you can have Service Cloud voice, and you don't have to use Amazon Connect. You can use another partner. Like I'm working with the implementation now for Service Cloud voice that's using Vonage. So you can use different telephony partners like that to set that up, Five9 or whatever it might be. You can use some different companies to do that. So that's in there. And then the visual remote assistance session scheduling. Again, if you do some remote assistance scheduling of that'd be a good one to look at. But again, we're not going to talk about it today. So the one we're going to talk about is customer service incident management. And it basically is introducing 3 new standard objects. They don't do that very often, but they're doing it for this because they feel like it really was needed for true incidents that occur for an organization, because everybody was trying to manage everything about an incident in the case object, ultimately is what was happening. So a lot of times they were building out their own additional related objects to be able to manage everything related to that incident. So what they did is they introduced these 3 new objects. Over here on the right-hand side, you can see they created this incident object, which basically create and track the incidents for any service impacting issue. And then they created this problem object to allow you to identify one or more problems that are causing this incident, for you to assign that problem to different people to be able to investigate and diagnose whatever the root cause is for the incident that's happening. And then once you've identified what's going to fix it, they introduce this change request object, which allows you to be able to deploy a fix and restore the service and track that to completion. So, a lot of folks use like Jira or some other product to manage your incidents. You could still do that if you wanted to, but this could, if you don't have it, this would probably be great to be able to make sure that you're properly managing everything to completion, instead of trying to cram everything in with notes and comments and different custom fields on the case object. So I'm going to run through this a little bit. It's really simple. You just basically turn a enablement toggle on, and it creates these 3 objects in here. So let me get logged into my org. All right, so here I am in my org. So I'm going to go to setup, start off. And I'm just going to look for incident. It's called incident management and setup. And again, just kind of going back to the slide, this is available for anybody with Service Cloud. No additional add-on licenses required. If you have Service Cloud, this is available to you. I think from what it said, all newer orgs are going to automatically have these 3 available. But if you're an older org, you're required to go in and turn it on if you want to use it. So I type in incident comes back incident management. You should be able to find this too. Again, if you have Service Cloud, and it's just a simple turn this on. I've already done it. And once you do that, it creates those objects, as I mentioned, and they all have related fields that's going to help you manage each one of those. And of course, it's just like any other object where you can create additional fields, page layouts, lightning record pages, all that kind of cool stuff. So, so I'm going to show you what it looks like in here. So again, that's it. That's all there is to it. Then you go to the different objects. You can see here, incident. And I've already kind of, and you can kind of see too, it's got incident. It's got the relationship field, so it's got the incident, problem, and then the objects, junction objects to kind of relate multiple incidents and multiple problems and vice versa and all that kind of good stuff. And I'll show you that in just a minute. So there's your incident. I type problem up here. There's your problem and all the related stuff there, and then change requests. And then there's your change requests and your related items as well. So again, it kind of automatically creates not just those three objects, but also those relationship junction objects as well. So you can create the proper relationships between the three objects. So, all right, so I'm going to show you guys real quick over here. So I'm going to navigate. I've added the tabs here, incident, problems, and change requests, so I can look at them easily under my service console. So if I click into incidents, I have a couple of them here. I'm going to look at the first one. And again, this can be customized in any mode, you know, for whatever components you want to add to it, just like any other Lightning page. But you know, I've added a couple of things, but it already had some of this. But gives you a quick little incident details, some actions and recommendations. If you haven't used that before, it's a really great feature to use. I haven't set any up, but you can add different actions, recommendations, and it'll display them for the users, depending on what type of incident it is, to help them progress the incident to completion. So you can add those just to kind of help them. It's almost like a flow, I believe, to kind of create that basically checklist of what they should be doing. Again, here's your details. You can add milestones to incidents like you can on cases. So definitely I would recommend doing that, especially if you have SLAs that you have to meet when an incident happens. Create those milestones. So it shows in here. It's graphical. It's really cool. I didn't set it up because it takes a lot of effort. But if you haven't used milestones, even if you're not using this and using cases, milestones is a cool feature to introduce when you have SLAs. You have your normal activity chatter, and I just added a account report chart just to kind of display something, you know, just to kind of show you some different components you can add to the page. And then from a related perspective, this is where I want to kind of show the information. Like, so for here, you can show for this incident, are there any child incidents that are related to it? So I created another incident and I related it to it, so you can kind of see that these incidents are related to each other. Or, you know, what are the problems that we've identified that are related to this incident? I identified 5 different problems and I related it, so you can easily see those and track those to completion. And then I created one change request here to kind of resolve it and close it out. And then there's also a case related to it. You can relate it to many cases that make sense to that incident, as well as assets. And again, you can really create any relationship to any object that makes sense for you in your org. If you have some custom objects that you relate to, you know, an account that you want to add to here as well, you can do that. So, okay. All right. Okay. So now let me go ahead. That's it for the incident. And then again, if I go to the problem here, I'm going to go to one of these problems. Actually, so here's the problem. I can show what might be the primary incident. If this problem is related to multiple incidents, which you can display. I just created a quick related record to show the primary incident that's in here. So I created this field to capture what is the primary incident, and then I created this quick action so I can tell what this problem is related to. The primary case as well. I created a field to capture the primary case in case there's multiple. And you can easily display a little bit of details about that one as well. I moved the action and recommendations over here on the right. You can put them in different places like that. And then the activity and chatter in here. And again, similarly, the related stuff, child problems, related incidences, change requests, cases, and then anything else you want to relate to it. Okay. And then last but not least, on the change requests, Again, there you could tell these are all related to each other, easy to track. Again, you can add any other fields. I didn't do a whole lot to this page. I don't think, oh yeah, I did. So you have your change request details, your action and recommendations. So change request also creates related objects called work plans and work steps. So you can see over here, there's two different work plans for this migrate to a new source database, like maybe Salesforce. So there's one that says, let's get this done. And there's one that says, keep things moving. So you can create this work plan called let's get this done if you're moving to a new source database like Salesforce. And I basically created 5 different steps. One to purchase licenses, which is complete, you can see. One to select an implementation partner, one to customize the org to meet the business needs, train all the users, and implement the solution. So you can track all of those right here from the change request to make sure it all gets done and resolved. And then once that's done, I can have the other work plan here that helps me track, create some trending reports and dashboards, create an idea submission process, host the weekly office hours, create a bi-weekly sprint plan, and then go ahead and deploy those enhancements that you're gathering up through these 3 different methods here. So that way you kind of keep improving the solution constantly. So that's kind of the cool. This is, I mean, all this is out of the box. You just had to check that, put that toggle to enable, and all this was available for you to utilize. And I put this all together in a couple of hours. So, you know, the setup of it is fairly simple, you know, and does not take a lot of knowledge and effort. You just got to know how to navigate around in Salesforce basically, and you can get it done. So, okay. So that was it for the incident management. Any questions on incident management? Does anybody think they'll take advantage of at least checking this out? Do you think anybody will resonate with your company? If not, hopefully somebody watching this on video will it'll resonate with them. So, okay, let me get back to my slides here. All right, so the next thing, I don't have access to an org with Pardot in it, but I thought this was kind of a cool feature for anybody that does utilize Pardot. It seemed like it was a pretty cool, pretty significant enhancement on the Pardot landing page builder enhancements. There's several more here that I'm not going to review, but again, I'll share that deck for the Salesforce CDP enhancements, Datarama reports for Marketing Cloud, Journey Builder enhancements for Google Analytics, Datarama connector for Salesforce CDP, and Pardot extensibility enhancements. So those are also some enhancements from this release, but I'm going to just kind of briefly go over this Pardot landing page builder enhancement real quick. So for this one here, it allows you to easily create some responsive landing pages for your campaigns. So it basically allows you just in a drag and drop editor, just like any other like lightning page that you can kind of see a picture of it here. You got your components on the left, like a lightning page, your palette here, and then over on the right, your details and what your component requirements are. So basically, it makes it a heck of a lot easier to build this out, to launch it, to track it. And if I could show you it, once you create it in here, you can kind of see all of the activity, how many views, how many clicks, how many opens, whatever it is that you're doing here. All of that would be right there on that record inside of here. So you can kind of very quickly track that. So, and this only requires a Pardot, a license, no additional license. So if you have Pardot, you should be able to take advantage of this if you're not already. So, okay. All right. So I'm going to talk about some user adoption items here, the in-app guidance enhancements, the Salesforce mobile app enhancements, and the Einstein search enhancements. There's also a guidance center enhancements, which I'll touch on maybe later on. Actually, I am going to touch on that. Well, that's part of the in-app guidance in the guidance center. So I'll probably going to touch on all 4 of those here. So I'm going to start with the in-app guidance. Hopefully, folks are, well, I'm going to say you are familiar with it, because anywhere you navigate in Salesforce these days, Salesforce has pop-up messages all over the place from, it's time to start MFA to whatever else they're they're presenting to you those little pop-up helpful information to bring attention to different parts of the org as you navigate around for the first time. It knows you as a user specifically. If it's your first time going there, it provides you that pop-up to give you that guidance. And if you're an admin and you go to a Lightning record page and you try to open it, you definitely get the in-app guidance, because it's constantly popping up on doing analysis and all that fun stuff in here. So I'll go through that a little bit. So let's get into that. So with the in-app guidance, you can create just a one-time prompt, just to display something like it's on this screen one time and it's done. Or you can create walkthroughs that have multiple steps. So it's like you see the highlight and you've been through those when you go to a new org or a new application for the first time. And once you walk you through, you give you that as a next step and it takes you somewhere else, next step. So you can create those walkthroughs. The one thing I'll point out though, the prompts, anybody can use those with any kind of standard Salesforce license. However, you have to have the My Trailhead license for the multiple step walkthroughs. So the only way around that is to create a bunch of individual prompts if you wanted to walk through without having My Trailhead license. So, okay. So I'm going to log into the org here again to show you a little bit about this. All right, so I'm in here now. So the enhancements, before I get into this too much, the enhancements are, in the past, when you created one of these prompts, and you created it on a page, it would be for every record on that page. One of the biggest enhancements now is you can specify a specific record type for that to display on. So if it's only relevant for a particular record type for a particular object or page, then you can say only show this for this particular record type. And I'm going to show you a little bit of that. I have one already created and I'll create a new one to kind of showcase that. Hopefully, cross my fingers that it'll work as expected. It's always fun. So you have that. You can specify where it displays with what's called targeted prompt. Because now you can click on the component, like here, you can click on here and I'll show you that in just a minute. And you can click on any component and it'll display and point directly to that component. So people know that that message is related to that particular component instead of just generally on the page, top left, top right, it was just kind of generally on the page. So, okay. Okay, so let me get into it now. So those are the two major enhancements from that perspective. I'm gonna go into in-app guidance. So here it is under user engagement, in-app guidance. And again, I already have one created that I've created for one of my record types as an account for the customer record type. And I'll just kind of show you that real quick just so you can see it, because I'm going to go to this when I'm done and hopefully it's going to work as expected. So I'm just going to preview it so you can kind of see it. So I created this. It's over here under the activities component, and it's just basically telling users, make sure you're tracking your stuff. Ultimately, create activities. Don't forget to create, log all of your activities related to this customer. Remember, if it's not in Salesforce, then it didn't happen, and then they can click got it and they'll be done with it. You can also have links inside of here to, you can see I did some bold, so there's some formatting limited, but some formatting. You can put links to external sources or internal within Salesforce, Trailhead modules, whatever you think makes sense to help them complete whatever you need them to learn on that functionality. So, okay, so that's there. So we'll look at that whenever we finish here. So I'm going to create a new one. But before I do, the one thing I did want to point out, and I don't necessarily recommend it, but I didn't notice until I started doing this, to be honest with you. If you go under settings under in-app guidance, there's an option here that says Salesforce standard in-app guidance, show all active in-app guidance created by Salesforce. If you uncheck this, you and your users will stop getting all those pop-ups if they're annoying all over Salesforce. So just know that that is possible. Don't recommend it because they are helpful. They don't do it all the time, but if they get too annoying, you can do that. And also, if you think your folks need a break from anything that you've created, you can uncheck this so that the in-app guidance that you've created won't display for anybody as well until you're ready for it to display again for them. So, okay. All right, so let's create one real quick here. All right. So I'm going to click add right up here in the top right to create a new one. All right, so I'm going to do this. I already did this other one on the customer record type. I'm going to do the other one on the partner record type. So I'm going to navigate before I start adding anything. I'm getting to where I want to be right now. I haven't really started any prompts yet. So I'm going to go to accounts. I'm going to find my partner accounts. Yep, this is my partner account here. So I'm going to add one up here for this one right up here. So I'm going to click add to because I'm going to add a prompt now. So I'm adding the prompt. I'm selecting. I just want a single prompt because I can't do a walkthrough without the my Trailhead license. So I just click single prompt and then I click next. Thanks for joining, Manny. I appreciate it. So once you click that, it brings up some additional prompt for floating prompt, docked prompt, and those were the two options prior to, and now this new option for targeted prompt. That's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to click targeted prompt, and then down here, I'm going to leave this. You can put the prompt location. You want it on this app, this page, this app, this page, any app, or any page, any app. So I'm going to leave it at this page in this app. So, and then once you're ready to put it wherever it's targeted at, you select this targeting mode. And then from here, it's saying, once you select it, you can kind of, I don't know if you noticed, but each component kind of got highlighted. So it's asking you, where do you want this to be targeted? I have it targeted up here in the highlights panel. So I click up here. It knows I'm targeting up here now. So it brings that up here. So, and I want to put it in a specific place because this is going to reference the type field. So I'm going to say use custom positioning. And I'm going to say I want it positioned on the left, and I want it at the bottom of the component. So here it's on the bottom left, and I'm going to reference that because I'm going to reference that type field. Okay. You could change the custom theme color to dark or anything like that. I'm not going to do that right now. But here's the other main feature, this record type. So if I check this, it's telling me show only for partner record type. So I'm going to check this box. So it's only going to show when it's a partner record type. And then I click next, and then I put in a title. Confirm account. Oh wait, partner type. Okay. Confirm whether this is a direct or indirect partner before proceeding. Okay, so you can put in some text in there. You can also upload an image. I'll just upload a quick image here. So it's uploading that, and then that'll display on there for me as well. Any images you put in there, and you can do links. And yeah, I can move this around. I want it to be below the text, and you can move it to the left, bottom, right, whatever. So, and then there's this dismiss button. You want to call it something else. I'm going to call it got it, just to give it a little flavor, and you can call it whatever you want to. And then so I hit save. Okay, resolve any errors. It doesn't like this. Oh, I didn't put any alt text. See, that's glad it brought me up. So you have to enter some alt text for somebody that's the image is blind or low vision user. So confirm partner type. So, and then save now. And then I'm going to call it again, partner type. Action. No, I don't want an action label. I'm sorry. You could create an action again to link it to Trailhead module, whatever it might be, but I'm not going to do one for this example. But you could do that here, put the label in the URL. You can schedule it. I want it to start immediately, so I'm going to leave the date as today, or you can say, I want to start this next week. You know, you can put that in there, and then an end date. You want to show it when the page is loaded, and how many times you want to show it, once, 10 times, whatever. Days in between, once you change more than one, how many days in between before they pop back up again, and then next. And you could either restrict it to specific profiles as well, record types and profiles, but I'm going to leave it at no profile restrictions, no permission restrictions, specific permissions. We'll leave it at none. And then here's what I'm going to call it. Confirm partner type. And I can copy the URL if I wanted to, but I'm saving that now. And I'm done. So now I should have two differing prompts depending on which account I navigate to. Let me refresh this so it acts right, hopefully. And I have three different account types. I have customer, I have partner, and I have vendor. So I'm going to go to each one of those just to kind of demonstrate how the different two show up there for the two we have created already. And when I go to that vendor one, neither one of the prompts will show up. So let's go there. So again, I'm going to go to the first one that I had, which was the customer one that tells them to create the activity. So if I go to this one, hopefully don't treat me. There we go. So create activities. Don't forget to create a log of your activities related to this customer. Remember, if it's not in Salesforce, then it didn't happen. And they can say, oh, I got it. Beautiful. Thank you for that. So now if I go to my partner one, which is the United Oil and Gas Corp, this one should bring my message up here. There it is. It didn't save to the right though, to the left. I'll have to check on that, but it does, it has the other one, confirm partner type, confirm whether this is a direct or indirect partner. I would have expected it to be over here on the left. Not sure if I didn't do something right there, but okay, got it. Beautiful. And then if I go to the third one, I won't see any of this gene point, which is a vendor record type. I don't see either one of the prompts here. So you can just wanted to point that out. A really great feature. I wanted to spend some time on this in-app guidance because again, I think it's fairly new. Not a lot of people are taking advantage of it. So it's easy, it's there, it's free from a prompt perspective. But definitely, if you don't use it already, create one or two just to get familiar with it, see how your users like it, and continue to do that. Because the one thing as a consultant that I see more than anything is not the way the system is built, but getting user adoption, having people understand what they really should be doing and the best way to do things inside of Salesforce. So this is an awesome way when you're trending and you're seeing people doing things not most efficiently, that you can point them in the right direction, gently. So to definitely recommend taking advantage of that. So, okay. And then also the other big enhancement for this winter release was not only can you do those prompts inside of different pages, account pages, but you can also do it in setup. So if you have delegated admins, or if you have a new admin coming on that you want them to see some stuff whenever they first go to it, you can set up those prompts on different setup pages. I think there's some limitations. It's because it's just getting introduced, but just know you could do that, for those type of situations as well. So, okay. All right, so the other thing I wanted to do is go through what's called the Guidance Center. And if you haven't noticed it already, it's this icon, this trailhead icon up here, and it's called Learning Paths. So in here, if I click on it, you can see I've already created one yesterday just to kind of demo, and I'm going to create another one so you can see how easy it is to create and assign different Trailhead modules to users. So here I've created and assigned Service Cloud Basics to all of my users. It tells them it's only going to take you 40 minutes to complete this, and it's due on the 15th. So it gives them a week to complete this badge, and then if not, I think it gives them notifications and that kind of thing. So I'm going to create another one in here, and again, you can create as many as you want, and you can assign them to different users or to all users. I'm going to do an all users for now, but I'll walk through the steps so you can kind of manage. You can kind of see that. So basically, what you would do as an admin, you would go down here to go to Learning Home. When you first go to it, it actually shows your learning content. So this is everything that's assigned to me as a user. I'm also a user, so I'm assigned this Service Cloud Basics. If as a required, I made it required for everybody, or I can make it as just a suggested and not a required, and those would be listed here. If I've started any, it would show all the ones I have in progress that are assigned to me, and then completed. And again, this is not all of your Trailhead modules. This is only ones that an admin has assigned to you as a user inside of your org. So just keep that in mind, okay? And if you used Trailhead Tracker App in the past, this kind of takes, the place of that to some extent. Not quite as detailed, but to some extent it does. So if I want to create another one, which I'm going to do now, I'm going to create one. So I'm going to click on Manage Learning Assignments, and you can see I already have this Server Cloud basic one that I've created. And if I expand it, it shows you the details. It's assigned to everyone. It's due. It was assigned here. It's due within 7 days from assignment is what I did. So, okay. So I'm going to create a new one and assign another module. So I just create new right here. Easy. I say it's going to be a Trailhead module, or you can create external links to external learning sites that you have. Doesn't have to be a Trailhead module, but just for simple sakes, and we like to keep, because there's so many awesome Trailhead modules that you probably can have some relevance to your users. But if not, again, you can link out to an external learning site. Even if it's not Salesforce learning, you can have them learn other stuff and get them reminders inside of Salesforce if that's what they're using all day long. So here you say, okay, what module do you want to assign? You start typing in whatever that module is. Knowledge, okay, I'm going to do this knowledge basics for Lightning experience. Okay, I'm going to have them do Service Cloud basics, and then right after that, I want them to learn more about knowledge basics so they can learn how knowledge articles can help them as internal users as well as their customers to manage their day-to-day work. So I'm assigning that, just grab that there. And here's where you say, where do you want this located? Apps and objects that you don't have access to are hidden. So I'm just going to leave it at all, but you can choose an app or you can choose an object. I'm going to say all in all. Again, here's where you can assign to all users. You can not assign it to anybody, just create it so it's suggested there for them, or you can assign it to specific users or groups. It's by users or groups, not profiles or roles, but users or groups are the different options you have there. I'm going to leave it assigned to all users, and I'm going to do a custom due date. You can do no due date, do in 70 days, do in 30 days. But since this other one, the Service Cloud Basics, do in 7 days, I really want 14 days. So I'm going to do a custom due date, and I'm going to put the due date on the other one was the 15th, I think it was. So I'm going to do this one due date on the 22nd, 2 weeks from today. Okay. And I'm just going to save that. And it's as easy as that. These are so super easy to create. So I'm saving that. And now if I go up here, it shows up automatically. Boom. Knowledge basics for Lightning. It's due on 3/23 and it's only 30 minutes long. So easy to manage these. Great. Again, this is something from a user experience perspective. When you find folks, a lot of training that a lot of set of users or all users need, you can easily add them in here and let them know that they're out here. And I believe they get notifications, and I probably will eventually, new Guidance Center learning resource available. So I have some other ones here too that you can notify them on as well. So, okay. And then just also, if they go to take them, if they click in here, it actually opens it inside of this little module here. So it kind of keeps it in within the Salesforce org. Obviously, they can also go to Trailhead and take it on there as well. But this kind of keeps it in here. And that way they can easily still be in Salesforce, do what they need to do, take their quiz and move along. So, okay. All right. Any questions on the in-app guidance or the guidance center, Learning Path Guidance Center? These are great resources to take advantage of if you're not already. Okay, so we're starting. I knew this was going to happen. Starting to run out of time, but that's okay. I just have a couple more I wanted to get through. And I really wanted to get through this functionality, the next one, which is related to mobile app functionality that makes things easier. So basically, there's a new introduction. Let me go back to my slides before I just start talking like it's cool. So that was in-app guidance. I kind of didn't show you the slides, but I have a slide here. So this is the next one I want to go over is this Salesforce mobile app enhancement. It provides an out-of-the-box landing page now for the Salesforce mobile app that end users can very quickly and easily personalize with the data that they need and put it in the order they want it in very easily individually. So I'm gonna show you how that works. So bear with me. Should be able to do this fairly quickly. Okay. No audio. All right, so I am dialed in on my phone now, and I'm going to stop sharing my desktop, and I'm going to start sharing my phone. All right, so here I am. And then I'm going to log into Salesforce. And I'm in my my playground, one of my playgrounds here is where I got this set up. So if you click on where it says menu in the bottom right, so I'm clicking on menu, and I go to App Launcher. You see App Launcher there? I set this up in the Service Console app already, and I'll show you how easy it is to set this up for users to take advantage of if they use the mobile app in just a minute. So I just want to kind of show you the features though. So if I go click on Service Console, it brings me basically to, I can select, so I'm going to click on home in the bottom left of my screen. Wish you could see me clicking these buttons, but so here's this new customized homepage. You can have all kinds of different cool components. You can see at the very top, it's got an accounts report, although it's not loading, that's fine. I'll show you how you can get rid of it if it's not giving you a lot of value. So just you have a report there. You have your most recently viewed records and lists. You can view your calendar, and this is actually your calendar on your phone. So this isn't the Salesforce calendar because the Salesforce events and calendars are here, and I don't have anything currently. And I'll show you how easy it is to grab something off your current calendar and add it to your Salesforce events here in the mobile app. I have a few tasks coming up here. Check in with a new employee, send thank you email to a client, and they have due dates tomorrow, March 10th, and go on vacation starting on Friday. Spring break coming up. I love it. And then here's my favorites. I've favorited a case, an account, contact, report, and those are all my favorites that I can get to easily. And then here's a pin list view for all users. As an admin, I like to keep track of stuff. So there's all users. So I'm going to make some easy, quick changes on here. So I'm going to go into here. So I'm going to change. I'm going to add. Actually, I'm going to show you how easily it is to add a Salesforce event. So I'm going to click on this event called Discuss CCSI 2791. That's a JIRA ticket that I'm meeting with some folks on to talk about. So, and there's a button. You see it right there, log event in Salesforce. Boom, I click it. It's creating the event. I can add additional details and relate it to whatever I need to. So I'm going to relate it to Lauren Boyle. I'm going to relate it to her accounts record, Burlington. And then I can put a location in there as well. I'll leave that link and just save. And that's it. So it automatically created that. Go back to my home page. Okay. I'm going to also go back up here or down and say, hey, you know what? I already checked in with this new employee, even though it's not due to tomorrow. I already met with them today. You just check the box, boom, and it's marked as done. So that way they can easily manage their task on here. And then you can easily, obviously, create a new task as well. Create a task, put in a subject in here if you wanted to. Test task real quick just to get something. Due date, March 21st. Actually, I'm going to make this somewhat of a real one. This subject will be get caught up on emails. So when I get back from vacation, that's going to be my #1 priority. And that's going to be a high priority when I get back on the 21st. So boom, I just created a new task for me coming up on the 21st. And then basically you could also make other edits. So like down here, this is my all users list view. I don't need to see a list of all users, but I would like to easily see who hasn't been logging in recently. So if I have another list view, I click on edit and I look at my recently viewed list views. It pulls up your recently viewed stuff, just so you're aware. So if you want it to show up here, you have to go and view it on your desktop first, and then it'll show up here. So you can see I have one called users not logged in over 30 days. So if I click that, boom, now it's changed to that. So that way I can see and I can reach out to anybody that hasn't logged in to Salesforce in over 30 days and say, hey, how can we help you as you have any issue, something like that. So, and then additionally, if I want to rearrange these and or get rid of this accounts report, I just click edit up here, and then I can, get rid of the accounts one, delete, I really want my favorites at the very top. So I'm grabbing that and pulling that up to the top. If I can grab it, there it goes. And then I also want my task, my assigned task coming up to at the top. So moving that up there to the top and saving that. So now I got my favorites there, my task, and it's my new task is not there yet. So I just need to refresh. Once I refresh, now I got my new task there. And then I also have my event that I created there in Salesforce. So that's a new, I can log into my desktop now. I can see that on my Salesforce calendar. So it's easy as that. And there's my list view. So, okay. So that's it for mobile enhancements. Again, if your folks use mobile, this is awesome. If they haven't, this is a good opportunity to introduce them to say, hey, you have all this flexibility. Not to mention down at the bottom, you can see I can easily get to cases, problems, change requests, and manage them from here as well. So just, make sure you let folks know that. So the only other thing I'll show in here since I'm on my phone is if you don't have Trailhead downloaded on your phone, definitely recommend that. Not only from, easily being able to get the Trailhead modules and taking them on the go, which is super awesome. That's been around for a little bit, but also the integration with community. So if I go to my community and I go to my activity, I can see all this new activity. I created this post this morning before the call. We had 2 new members, Emily and Bryce, both joined the group recently. I wanted to welcome them to the group, and hopefully everyone else will go in here and welcome them. So the one thing I also wanted to point out is, I know a lot of times people belong to a lot of different groups, but I definitely recommend for those that are in the Jacksonville community and want to stay active in the Jacksonville community to log in. You have to log in from your desktop to the group and change your post to every post instead of a weekly digest. That way you get a notification icon on here, just like any other app, and push notifications if you have it turned on your phone. When your phone's locked, it'll show you that you have a new message in here. So just kind of wanted to point that out. So any questions on the mobile enhancements? I'm gonna stop sharing now, I think. Cool, that worked, awesome. Good. Hopefully that the folks that haven't been using mobile for their users will kind of use that as a bit of an introduction. And just real quick from a setup perspective, super easy. All you have to do is go to an app. I'll do it for one other app real fast. Take it about 30 seconds. I know I'm already over, but hopefully you guys don't mind. So if I go to App Manager in here, I'm going to go to the Sales Console app. Let me do that, Sales Console, and I'm going to add it here. So if I go and I click Edit next to the Sales Console, all you have to do is go to the navigation items here on the left, type in mobile.
Sorry, Mark, I don't know if you can't see your screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me back up. I didn't. That would be helpful, wouldn't it? Thank you. All right, so I backed up again, home. If I go to the setup and home and I go to apps and app manager, and I'm going to the Sales Console here and I click Edit. Thank you for letting me know. I was trying to hurry up a little bit too quickly. And then all you have to do is click on navigation items, type in mobile, and you have your mobile home option. Definitely recommend as you add it to move it to the top. So folks, when they go to that app from a mobile, they only see this on a mobile device. Obviously, this isn't their home. It's going to still be their home on their desktop, but this is their home on their mobile device. And obviously moving it to the top. So when they go to this app, it's going to be the first thing they see. So definitely recommend that and save, and boom, that's it. So that puts it there for the Sales Console app as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. It's super easy to introduce it to folks, and they can add all those different components in there. There's some limits to what type of components that can be added, but you can see those components that are on there should be sufficient for somebody to really figure out what their game plan should be for that day. So, okay. All right, so let's go back to my slides. The other thing, and I'll probably just talk about it real fast, is the Einstein search enhancements. It gives the users the fastest way to find and do things on Lightning, and it's the default. That's I wanted to point out. This is the default global search. Obviously, you should know that it by now, because anytime you search, it's how it searches now. It doesn't give you that option to go old school. But you know, it's pretty cool. You can see it through the screenshot. If you hover on something, you can see everything related. You know, it's a snapshot of the details, all the related. And if you hover on the related, shows you the details, including all the actions. You know, you can see that you could do on the record and on the related records and all that cool stuff. So that's cool. There's other functionality I won't get into too much. The one thing I did want to that I thought was really cool is you kind of can have the ability to surface specific objects for a particular profile. So I'll show you how to do that real quick. So if I go search, oops, there's this new option for search objects to always search. It's a beta. This is the only beta one I was going to show, but I thought it was pretty cool. But you can see now each profile is set for the default search profiles. But if I wanted to go to the system admin profile or to the standard, I'll go to the standard one, and I want to surface those new objects that I displayed earlier. So I'm going to grab the incident object. I'm going to grab the problem object. And I'm going to grab the change request object. So those are the ones I want to make sure those are the ones that when people search, they're going to find those. They're not going to come back at the bottom of the list or not show up at all. So now it still tries to do, you know, it's still Einstein search. So it's still going to have those Einstein determined objects, but it's always also going to search and find and bring back these as their primary searches as well. So anything you want, it recommends up here at the top. Or somewhere it said, you know, it recommends anywhere from 3 to 5, no more than 5. I don't know what the limit is exactly, but so just wanted to point that out. That was a really cool feature, because I've had clients ask me all the times, like, I know what they're here. Why is my seeing it? Oh, you got to click more when you search and show all the other objects that it's finding. If the objects they use aren't showing up, you know, you can just add them here and they should show up all the time on that search. So, okay. All right. Okay, and just real quick on Salesforce Flow, if I would be regressed if I didn't at least mention something about flows. They did enhancement back in winter 22 to try to, again, get it more in line with workflow rules and process builder from a core functionality perspective. So a lot of those functionality, especially introducing outbound messages, which I think was a huge improvement there, because I think that was only able to be done via workflow rules. So that allows you to be able to do that via Flow as well now. And then some additional functionality enhancements to MuleSoft Anypoint platform APIs. But, you know, just in general, you know, everybody I'm sure has heard by now that workflow rules and process builders are being migrated to Flow. And there's been I see a lot of posts and questions about what's the best practice for this. And I'm sure Rich would probably agree. As much as Salesforce is providing tools to just simply drag and drop, you know, replacing your workflow rules and process builders, as a consultant, I'd be regressive if I didn't say you should take this opportunity to clean up your functionality and your automation that's inside of Salesforce. So if you're thinking about migrating now, you're going to need to eventually start reviewing your workflow rules and your process builders. You know, some key best practices that I've heard and I've told some customers is look at it object by object. When you're looking at the workflow rules and process builders, see how you can, first of all, see if you still need them. Are they still needed or not? If they are still needed, see how you can combine them, because in flows, obviously, you can do a lot more than you could do in one simple workflow rule. So see how you can combine them together into 1 or 2 flows instead of 10 workflow rules and 3 process builders. So take advantage of the opportunity to do that enhancement and clean up your org a little bit while you're doing that migration. There's no deadline. I can't remember, or maybe Rich, you could confirm, but I don't think there's a deadline to do that. But they definitely have already started introducing tools to help you get that migrated over. And you want to do that sooner rather than later, not wait to the last minute because it's just going to make your life easier, to be honest with you, from a maintenance perspective down the road as quickly as possible. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think there is a date yet, but I do believe that they will prevent you from creating new workflows in the future, and then
Yes.
eventually, start to retire features of it out. There was one or two that they aren't going to get rid of, like the email alert, because Flow uses them.
Yep.
So I think email alert and maybe outbound message, I can't remember. But there's one or two like actions of workflow rules that will still be utilized. However, agreed, it's time to start moving, and better to do it now and be ahead of it than to be late and have to stay up late one night trying to do it before a release. So.
Right, exactly. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Okay. All right, cool. And then just a couple other things real quick from a Premier Success Plan enhancements. They've made some pretty significant enhancements there related to some expanding across maps, communications cloud, media cloud, a couple other ones as well there. And then they also have these expert coaching sessions is what I wanted to point out here. If you have Premier Success Plan, which most customers do, again, feel free to come to a consultant if you need to, but definitely recommend you take advantage of those expert coaching sessions. And I think I think I put a link directly to it here, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I should do. Yeah, so this is kind of brings you to the page on what you get with your Premier Success Plan. You can look at the other plans here, standard, which is the standard one, or the signature, the highest level. And then also this expert coaching is what I was talking about. If you don't do that, it's kind of I think it includes what is also referred to as accelerators. So you can take book some information, get some info, do an accelerator, and they give you a great output on what you should focus on within your org to continue to enhance it and improve it. So take advantage of those if you're not already. Okay. Community enhancements and Trailhead Go enhancements, just real quick. It's now easier to manage this. So in the careful what you wish for category, we've always asked, gosh, I wish we could just have one login and get to everything, whether it was Trailhead, whether it was the community, whether it was the ideas. Well, we got it. But I know sometimes if you've logged in recently, it can be overwhelming. Just don't get overwhelmed. Just make sure you kind of understand what you're looking at, how to navigate around inside of there. But just, and I'll just kind of log in real quick just to kind of give it a quick rundown. When you first log into Trailhead now, you guys have noticed he has your today page. And it's got a bunch of components all over the place, which can be a bit overwhelming. But just to kind of break it down a little bit, this left column here, it kind of just gives you information about your Trailhead modules, what you have in progress from a module, what you have in progress from trails, trail mixes, and what you have favorited, and then it just kind of gives you a quick snapshot of your groups, not Trailhead module related or trail learning, but different groups which can help you learn. And then in the middle section here, it's got some more recommended modules, and then it starts showing you some feed information, your Trailblazer feed. And if you don't want to get too deep into clicking all up here in the community, right here under your feed, cool way to kind of see some different type of feeds is it starts off on following, and you have these different options. You can see different questions that are in here. You can change it. What I use a lot is my activity. So you can see what I've been doing and people responding, so I can respond to them and all that kind of cool stuff. Or you could do my favorites. If you favorite something, I don't have to favorite it anything, but just know that. And then it has some other information about trending topics, what people are talking about these days, and then the newest badges that have been created. If you're a badge addict, you can come in here and grab the newest one and take those and complete them as well. And then some promote equality at your company. So you can take these and learn, bring them back to your company to try to make sure your company's doing the best they can to create an equal playing field at your company. So for all employees. Okay. So that's that real quick. Trailhead Go, I mentioned it. You can have inbox push notifications. I didn't get into it, but advanced filtering and all that kind of good stuff. And I will not talk about this too much. There was one other one here about copying image directly into a post and Experience Cloud, which looked kind of cool. But instead of right now in today's world, and I just wanted to point out, this is only for Experience Cloud enhancements on Aura sites, not Lighting Web, LWR, or Salesforce tabs and Visual Foresights. But that's the start of us being able to just copy and paste instead of constantly having to download and save a file to only to upload it again into a post. So that's a little time consuming and eats up space on your computer if you have to constantly do that. Some survey stuff, I won't go into that, but those three were pretty cool. But you can look at those. It's already 10:30. Dynamic interactions. This is where a developer can create some code and you can use it to dynamically display information depending on what's selected in different components on a page, which is really cool. Definitely recommend checking this out. I'm not going to go into detail on it since it's already 10:30. And then the other stuff here, I won't go into it all, but I kind of put the in case I needed time to fill, which I don't, but gives you the bullet points for all the other areas that I didn't go over at all: loyalty, commerce, Quip, analytics, all the clouds, and that's it. And then here's how you can learn more. There's a link here for the release. There's some demo videos linked on each slide, but there's also a full list of all the demo videos here. You can take the release highlights trail if you haven't already to learn all the cool stuff about Winter 22. The release notes, and then the release readiness group. If you haven't already joined it, you can join that group as well. There's also, I didn't link them here, but there's all kinds of awesome blogs out there that people create, like Salesforce Ben or Jen, all these folks that create different blogs to help you understand the biggest impactful ones, similar to what I did today, hopefully. So, and then that was it from this. Any questions on the Winter 22 stuff? Appreciate you guys. I knew it would happen. I went like 15 minutes over my time allotted, but hopefully folks still have time to stick around and maybe we can do some breakout rooms. So what I was hoping we could do is I will do that. We got 13 people here. So I'm gonna give you a topic to talk about here. You don't have to talk about this topic. It's an icebreaker in case you get into the room and folks, you guys can't think of anything to talk about, but feel free to just introduce yourselves, get to know each other a little bit better. But if you need a topic to talk about, this is one I came up with. That'll be fun for folks to think about and talk about. If you had to delete all the apps on your phone except for 3, which ones would you keep? Now, of course, we know there's standard ones you can't delete. So out of the ones you can delete, which ones would you keep? Would it be Facebook or Twitter or a sports one or whatever it might be, or a game, right? Which 3 would you keep? So I'm going to break us up, and I'm gonna stop the recording. People